My name is Hannah Schoen, and I am applying for the Master's of Social Work program, and here is my video portion of my application. So question 1 is, what are the important values, qualities, and attributes in your life? How will these factors assist or hinder your work with underrepresented and vulnerable populations? So I value authentic connection between people, honesty, continually striving to better oneself, curiosity and better understanding each other and celebrating differences, self-care, which for me means saying no to people and putting my personal life needs over my work life needs and telling people what I need. And then also adventure in the wilderness and the beauty of the earth that we inhabit. So I think how this assists and hinders my work is, that I really do value that continuing to strive to better oneself, which is hard to see sometimes in the clients we work with. And I come from 5 years of doing child protection case management. And so I will probably speak to some of that, but just really looking at why people are being dishonest or what's going on. And I've learned that I always, if I can take a step back and outside of that relationship conflict that I'm having with a client or frustrations, that if I can take a step back and then determine why a person felt the need to lie or, in my point of view, is not doing what they should to better themselves, then I can usually better understand them, which helps me and them to communicate better and to also address the needs and better support clients. And then the second question is, discuss your experiences with cultures, groups, and or individuals different than your own identification and share what you've learned in these experiences. So I specifically remember the culture shock that I experienced through my first few months in child protection social work. And that culture shock was not like any other culture shock that I had experienced. And especially since the year before I had spent that year living in Poland for 9 months, where many people did not speak any English, and the traditions and cultures are very different. But I felt like that could not prepare me for the culture shock of child protection in a community that I was also born and raised, because I did child protection case management in the county that I grew up in also. So I just, kind of remember the life mentality of being just so different for my clients, because they really struggled to be able to meet their basic needs. And so then their higher level of needs could not even be touched or met. So that could be, receiving food benefits, the amount of paperwork needed to complete public assistance programs, not having enough food, and having to go to the food shelf or bringing your TV into the pawn shop to get money for food and then buying the TV back a week or two later when you had enough money. And just really that families were really isolated from each other, and kids maybe spent time just sitting in front of their TV at their house. And so I just remember driving home from work and feeling like I lived in two different worlds. And then especially, if I had things going on after work, that I was meeting friends for happy hour or whatever, that I just really felt this like conflict, because my clients that I had worked with all day couldn't even dream of doing a happy hour or just like going out to do some sort of activity with friends, that wasn't even, it was unattainable for them. So it really felt me kind of feeling guilty a little unnerved, and also made me realize how my life and world has been so easy and my current relationships are so valuable to me. And so, yeah, I just remember that culture shock of the community that I was born and raised and grew up in was almost more shocking to me than living in Poland for a year. Culture shock. So question number 3 is, describe an experience in which you exercise leadership, responsibility, and or judgment, and discuss what you've learned from that experience. So kind of thinking back on that in my last 5 years of child protection, was that when I first started, I was very new social worker, and it was my first professional job, first professional social work job, and I had lived a pretty privileged and easy life compared to my clients, and just learning the massive, complicated system of child protection. And so during my first year, my supervisor and I would meet weekly to have supervision and talk through my cases. And we worked a lot on my assertiveness because I was just such a new social worker that didn't know a lot. And so I needed to build that confidence in myself and work on my assertiveness. Like an example, I had to ask like a coworker to help me call a welfare check on a client of mine, and I was uncomfortable with calling the police department. That has since changed, but yeah, so in my child protection work, we do weekly case consults, and so during that first year or two, I would really just sit back and observe and really take in the information about the life of a case, what do you have to do, services, learning about mental health, learning about chemical dependency, and so really just watching. And my supervisor would always tell me to, would encourage me to participate more in the consults. So then fast forward a few years now, that I usually am leading those case consults with ease. Don't really have any issues with asserting myself in a group, especially to make sure we remain on task or offer solutions or ask questions or raise any concerns. And I definitely have learned in that it's important to ask questions and to listen and to value people's work, and also ask questions or help them. Maybe if they're not seeing something that you see, ask questions that maybe help them to get that viewpoint, or ask clarifying questions because I may be thinking this thing and they are thinking this thing because of X, Y, and Z. So I really learned in kind of that whole process of just trying to keep an open mind and seeing what is on the other sides, knowing that open mind and talking through all the options and suggestions is a great way to learn and the best practice. And really just keeping your team on task is definitely important. So question 4 is, why do you think you would be a good social worker? So I'm currently a licensed social worker, and I think I'm a good social worker, but obviously wanting to increase my skills and to become an even better social worker through this program. And so I think I am a good social worker because I'm curious in people and people's behaviors, and determining and learning why people make the choices and decisions that they do in their life, what motivates people, and how people's life experiences has affected them, either positively or negatively, and how that plays out in their life today when social workers are working with them. I also care very deeply about my clients that I work with and really desire to assist and partner alongside of them to meet their needs. I feel like I try to put myself in their shoes and really empathize about what they're going through during that time. that they are working with me to better support them and offer services that appropriately meet their needs, because I, have very different life experiences than they do. So I ask a lot of questions, and I try not to have assumptions and recognize my biases, because I know that I have them. So really trying to keep an open mind in that. So I believe that concludes the interview video recording portion of my interview. So thank you for your time, and I really appreciate it. Thanks.